how did you get along with the women that you worked with?
I didn't do anything with them for the first period of my career as a dancer. Women mirror parts of ourselves back to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was so out of touch with my body and my sexuality, and believe me, never could have admitted or felt good about the fact that I was doing what I was doing, because I held a lot of shame for a long time about having fun and doing this job. So I set myself apart, and I did not communicate with them because they were bad girls and I was this good girl, and I was just having fun. For a year I did both jobs, and because I was not a dancer, I had never been in one of those places. I had never met one of those kinds of women, and again, I was just this good girl. And so I didn't connect with the other women. It took me quite a long time, and it wasn't until I was still then just doing the job by itself, and I went back to college, and then I started to be more comfortable with myself, and therefore I could be more comfortable with the other women.
How about the men in that environment?
My job was to talk with the men and to try and get dances from the men, and I was very naive, and so... And I had the luxury of still working. When I first started, I was still working at the laboratory. So I could sit and talk for much longer. I didn't have to worry about basing my entire income on this job. And I asked them, and they told me about they wanted conversation. I worked in a place where men actually talked to the women, and they wanted to see low-cut dresses because they were also there for visual stimulation and sexual intimation. There wasn't sex happening, but it was a fantasy, and that's what they were showing and sharing with me, what they wanted to fulfill their fantasy. The men over the years just changed in my regard to them. Initially, I think I looked for their acceptance, and I think that even controlling them in some sense was important, because I had always felt that they were in control of me in a way. And then throughout time, I always talked to them. The places I worked, typically, we would talk, we made conversation. And that was a huge part of my being able to do the job. These weren't just men. I wasn't just a piece of meat. I got to really connect. And so many I began to see were coming in because they were lonely, or they were out of town away from their families, and they weren't necessarily there looking for anything more than what they were getting in the club, which was a place to be for a while and look at pretty girls and have a little bit of a visual fantasy. They were human. And then they started to show pieces of myself back to me. And then over time, after I got tired, because it's very physically taxing and can be emotionally draining, I got tired. Then they became more of just the people that I didn't want to spend a lot of time with, but I wanted to get in, make my money. So it became, it was a job like any other job. Initially, it was fun. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun. I got to dress up, and that was fun. And then it became a job like any other job.